At the beginning of this year, I put up a poll on the YouTube page. What would you like to be perfect at? If you could choose one thing to get totally perfect at, what would it be? I had driver distance, driver straightness, irons, wedges, putting, short game. I was surprised because people like in the golf industry, they'll all tell you distance is what people want. And I was like, I don't really think so because in the poll, driver straightness. That was the thing that people want more than anything. Distance was up there, but what really this is like a game of being able to hit it somewhere. It's no fun, even if you're hitting at 350 yards. If you're hitting at 350 yards into somebody's backyard, there's no fun to be had. Nobody's like patting you on the back. Well, at least it went really far, but it's like your ball's lost. You're not even playing the game. So it's a game of accuracy. If you want to play the game at any kind of level, you got to be able to have some control over your driver shot, where it's going to go. And I meet a lot of golfers. I've met a few like teaching pros that when they play, they don't hit driver. They have some kind of problem with driver. So they hit 2-iron, they hit hybrid. Sometimes they choke up on a 3-wood. But I meet a lot of people that just won't hit driver. So we're going to end that. The course of my channel, people ask me this sometimes, and I had to count it up. I think I've had lessons from over like 60 some pros. What I've done with Be Better Golf and talking to all these guys, I've noticed like some singularities in the stuff that they do. When the rubber meets the road and they want somebody to get better, this is the stuff they prescribe. And you can kind of see like, okay, like wisdom of the crowd, this is really where the gold is. This is really like the Be Better Golf philosophy of how to hit the driver straight. This is the stuff that I've seen work the best, not only from all the teachers that I've seen, but also at the Be Better Golf schools. This video is going to be broken down into basically, you're going to have to learn these 3 things and you're going to hit your driver much straighter and more solid. The first thing you're going to do if you want to hit your driver better, and that's why we're starting here, get some kind of setup where you can do this at home. And you don't need very much space, but you will learn much faster if you do something at home. My friend Lee Dietrich just turned 80. And I asked him, I said, Lee, of all the people that you've coached, he's been coaching for like 50 years. You've seen people that get better and people who don't get better. What's the biggest difference in the people that get better? And he said, without a doubt, it's the people that figure out something that they can do at home to ingrain what they're working on and to get better. He said, if you are waiting until you're at the golf course to get better, and then the only time you really get better is at the golf course, that's not enough. And it's also not enough to like walk around the grocery store or Target like doing like rehearsal swings. You got to be hitting something, and you got to be doing it in a place where you can, you know, live your life and then go hit a few of these shots and go back. In the motor learning, I learned this from this guy called Tim Lee up in Canada. What you really want are not these like, you're not this weekend warrior mentality of like, okay, I'm going to go out on Saturday and practice for 9 hours, take a break, and then practice for 9 more. That doesn't work. What you really have to do is you have to try something for a short amount of intense time and then forget about it. And then try to recreate it again later, either later in the day or whatever. But you would be much better to have something like this set up at home, use it for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, then leave, do something else, and then come back to it and try it again. Get this set up. The first thing you're going to do, and this is like the basis to golf, is you need to get really good from waist to waist, okay? So really good from about belt high to belt high, or even like rib high to rib high. If you want to hit your driver straighter, you have to become like a real expert at this drill, which is you take it back waist to waist and you're just hitting balls and really concentrating on hitting it in the center of the face from waist to waist, okay? There's a few things about this that I talked about in the Be Better Golf protocol that is over on the member side. If you click the members button, you see there's a whole bunch of videos about this. You want this club to line up about on your toes. So I have chalk actually. Let me see if I can grab chalk. I'll just use these. This will show it even better. So what you want to do is you have one on your toes here, and then the other is just inside your heel. So like if I was facing this way, you would line it up with the inside of, just inside of where your shoelaces are. So not all the way on your heel, but just about there. And what you want to do is set up so I've got it on my toes and then just that side of my shoelaces on that side, and choke up on it a little bit. And this is the drill here, and you go like that. And you're thinking, if you were out on the range, you want to carry this like a little less than 100 yards. The whole thing will roll out very short.
Yeah, and the reason the one on the heels is there is because when I'm coming through, my body's opening up, and I'm not going to be parallel to where I'm going to be symmetric with the one that's on my right side here. I don't want to be here. And we do it at home with a wedge to start with.
Okay.
And then we would go, and then I would go with a 6-iron. And then I would go with either a driver or a hybrid or a 3-wood.
Yep.
To get the feeling of the same thing with the length.
Why are we doing this? The reason is Dr. Kwan, a guy that I've had on the channel a lot, a really smart scientist, coined the term functional swing plane. The reason is some golfers at the top are like this, and these are all good golfers I'm talking about, okay? Some golfers at the top are like this. Some golfers at the top are like this. But then when you get to about here, some golfers are like this. Some golfers are like this. Then when you get here, they're like this and this and this and this. But right about there, this funneling effect happens where they're all the same, really similar, really similar, really similar. Then over here, now they start to be a little different. You can do whatever you want. You can do a lot of different things. But because of the way the golf club is made, you really have to use the tool the way it's meant to be used from about waist high to waist high. And I've seen getting good at this correlates directly to getting good at golf.
Here's what Marcus did with the short game.
Marcus Bell, yeah.
He had the guys going over to here where they wanted to finish the swing, which would be about, let's say, on this heel line that we're talking about. And then he had them swing back and then swing over to that position just to get the feel of that. Just recently, one of Dr. Kwan's students that I just saw a couple of days ago, he did the same thing. He took the guy with the trigger to here, then he had him go back and swing to that trigger. Now what that does, it gets you away from taking this club down the target line too straight where I have to close it. I have to motorcycle it a bunch to get it square. It allows you to come into the ball like so, and then let everything go around so I can keep this moving and keep the club head moving in an arc over to here.
The second thing that I've seen that's like this singularity in all golf teachers is this right here, walking, okay? Walking is really the basis for any kind of movement you're gonna do in your life, because you will take, I don't know how many, millions and millions of steps in your life. And that's the thing that I've seen, the hottest thing in golf instruction over the last 3 years is people are getting away from people trying to hit positions, and they're getting more into people trying to create pressures. And the number one way that coaches are getting people to do this is through step drills. So the second thing I'll have you do is learn how to do a step drill and blend it with this functional swing plane thing. So we're going to start out with Dr. Kwan's step drill, which is the feet are a fist and a half apart, right? You're going to swing it there, then you're going to step to the right, then the club goes to the right, you're going to step to the left, and the club goes to the left. But let's keep that right there, only waist to waist, or just on the functional swing plane. We can try to hit some balls with it. The first thing I would do definitely is just get a little rubber tee and just try to hit that rubber tee. So we're going to go through it, step, step, through it. And there shouldn't be too much folding of the wrist. And the number one problem people have with this is they get the club going, then the step going. So it would look like club, step, club, step. No, we need the step and the force to precede the motion. The force has to come first. Through, step, step. So the best way to learn to do this, and this works, this really, really works, is you trigger it here, then you step, and then force goes up and the club comes back to about where the tee is, and that's when you start your step to the left. You finish the cycle there and then push, and then the club comes through. It'll feel awkward, but the thing is, if you keep doing it and trying this waist to waist step drill every day, all of a sudden you'll start doing it better. Even with no instruction at all and nobody like helping you or fixing you, it'll take longer. But if you just do like an absolute avalanche of these drills, just do a whole lot of them across like many days. What we've seen is about 5 weeks of doing this every day. All of a sudden you'll become in sync and you'll be doing all these technical things that would have taken you forever to do on day one. And it'll start to feel really natural. So we have our feet together. We're gonna go, I'm gonna go above it. Okay. That was dead straight. Okay, now we're on the toe a little higher.
Okay.
Slightly better. That changed the strike location in a good way though. The other thing you're gonna wanna do while you're doing all this stuff is it's very much a skill just to be able to hit it in the center of the face. So get some foot spray, or I like even better those stickers that you put on there, and just learn that skill. One thing that I like for this is the launch deck. It's just like a little obstacle course, and we go little pressure drill. Okay, and just avoid all that stuff. These things in the front here, that's more for launch angle and stuff like that. But you can build something like this out of pool noodles or Amazon boxes or anything like that. Just something to try to avoid. We've only gone so far to waist, and that's gonna be like, honestly, that's gonna be like 75% of your practice if you're really serious about hitting the driver straighter and actually like more solid and further. I think Patrick Harrington put it in the best way because he was talking about his swing, like all of his practice swings, things he does are from here to here. And his swing in his mind and in his feeling feels like that, just waist to waist. The only thing that makes it go further, because you see Patrick has an incredible windup, you know, the only thing that makes it go further, he's putting more force into the system here, and then it takes him longer to slow it down. So from here to here feels the same, but there's more force, so it takes him longer to slow it down and turn in the other direction. So the main advice I can give to people is worry a whole lot less about this stuff and worry a whole lot more about, okay, if I was in the trees, there was trees like along here, and I had to hit this solid, that was really good.
That's perfect.
Yeah, that was perfect. That was in the center too. Finally, now this is where it can get a little confusing, but it's also the absolute most crucial part of this is, okay, what is the face doing? Now, if you're doing the functional swing plane and you're getting the head and the shaft traveling on the functional swing plane, you know, like this roof of a house through there, and you're getting the swing driven from this feeling of pressure with the steps, your chance of having the face squared impact is going to go way up. But it might not, because your hands don't just grip the club. They're not just vices. The hands have to do stuff. Golfing machine people talk about educated hands. And the hands don't just hold it and you just turn your body. You can't do that because the club is off center. See that pushing on it torques it. So you have to do something to counteract that. I was watching an interview on another YouTube channel called Big Boy Pants Golf, and they were interviewing Adam Taylor, and he said something in there that I thought, like, that's really the issue for most golfers. He said most golfers, what they're doing is they are wrapping it around their ass and they are fanning the face. That's something that Pete Cowan said too, but they're doing this. And Lee and I just made a big video about this issue on my member side. If you click on the join button below, like we have hours of content just about this issue. But basically, everybody is opening the face and going inside, and then they're extending the wrist on the way down and steepening, okay? So what you want to do is you need some version of the motorcycle drill. So, and some motorcycle riders are like, you don't do that to make it go faster. It's some version of this. Whatever golfer you are, if you are Shane Lowry at the top and you go like this, you're going towards this direction. If you are John Rahm and you're here and you go like that, then you're going towards this direction. You need to be like taking waft off the club and getting the club moving in some direction this way in transition. If you are adding loft, adding extension, and moving the club in this standing up direction, you're cooked. You will really have to start turning on all the red lights to get your swing to slow down. A good example, you don't need to get this, but a good example to show this is the gem. When you are taking it back, get this, see how that's pointing that way? We need to get this then feeling as if it's starting to point towards that wall back there. So it goes this way, that way, and then finishes. And that's actually with the gem, what keeps it from wobbling. See how it's going this way, and then I'm pointing this gem that way. So a good thing to try to do is get a tennis racket, take it back, and get the feeling of do this, okay? So what you're gonna do is you have it here, it's somewhere up in the air, and you need to get the feeling that I'm taking this tennis racket and I'm putting that blade back that way towards the camera so that when I get here, my knuckles are more back and my palm is facing the ground, or basically an extension of this target line. So that's a great feeling there. That's a great drill. Putting it all together, we have functional swing plane, which is that. That was a little too big, but you get the point. Then we have step drills, which is above. Yep, and you can even hear your feet. Okay, and then the concept that the entire golf swing is here to here. There is nothing more. It's just momentum that would take it any further. Finally, you got to do something in transition. You want to be on what almost all the pros are doing. Forget about the exceptions to the rule. If there are 99% of pros that are adding right wrist extension and closing the face, let's stick with that because you are not going to be the exception. You're too old to figure to be the exception because that's stuff that happens with really young kids who are really talented that somehow figure it out. That ain't you. Okay, so we're gonna go here and we're adding that a little bit. And I think the gem is really, if you get your hands on one, I would really suggest it. I have a promo code in the description of this video where you take it up and you get this pointed that way a little bit. What would almost everybody do if they do what Adam Taylor and Pete Cowan talk about? Everybody would do this. They would get this pointed that way, this way. Everybody would be doing. Okay, what we want to do is get this pointed a little towards the wall here, and then we want to really point it towards the wall there. So it's basically going to be down and a little towards the wall, and then that's the transition. And that keeps the wobble out of it. The final thing, get some of those stickers to put on the face of your golf club and hit a few balls every day where you're just thinking like, okay, if I was at a carnival game and I'm just trying to fill up the sweet spot of that sticker, how would I do that? And that would be like a really good one there. Okay, here's the secret about this stuff, is that all this stuff that I just taught you about how to hit it straight is also super, super similar to the stuff that I would say for how to hit it long. So if you want to hit it straighter this season and have the best handicap you've ever had and start to live out some of your golf dreams, you have to decide to do certain things every day that are going to actually help you. Working on this stuff in transition is only like a very, very small portion of it. You are gonna get so much more bang for your buck if you can go like for 10 minutes a day, twice a day, where you are doing that and you're doing step drills, and then you're working with your tennis racket where you're going here and then you're putting it on the table here, and then I'm getting this blade. See, this blade is faced towards that wall, and now I'm putting that blade towards the camera. Doing that. Good. But this one would be now a little fuller of a swing. And the only thing I'm going to feel that I do different is I'm just going to have that initial impulse be faster, and then everything else is going to react to that initial impulse. So it'll end up going longer without really even thinking about it. So then when you're on the course, a good thing to do is imagine that you have this little obstacle course here and get very external. I am just going, externally meaning I'm just going to put this sweet spot on that ball, and I'm going to react to that first little motion I do, and then all of this in my mind is make that first little motion and then put the sweet spot on the ball. So look at my target, first little motion, and that's it. All right, thanks for watching, guys. We go into greater detail, and I'll put this entire video up on my members page. So if you click the join button, or if you don't see the join button, if you click the link in the description that talks about the members site, it's here on YouTube. It really has a lot of stuff from me and a lot of coaches as well. Lee Dietrich and Milo and other coaches, and a lot of extra footage goes up on there. And click the subscribe button. It really helps the channel. Thanks for watching. Bye.